everybody. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. If you have a name tag up on the stage, please come on up.
Okay, good evening, everybody. How you doing?
What's up, brother?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Before we kick off the town hall, we're going to introduce members of the cabinet that are on stage, starting with Director Angela Woodson. Angela?
Good evening, Director Angela Shute-Woodson of Community Relations Board.
Good evening, Wayne Drummond, Department of Public Safety.
Good evening, Dorothy Todd, Chief of Police.
Good evening, Warren Morgan, Chief Executive Officer, CMSD.
Good afternoon. Happy Veterans Day. Michelle Pomerantz, Chief of Education.
Good evening, John Lear, Director of the Department of Public Works.
Good evening, Sally Martin O'Toole, Director of Building and Housing.
Take that from you. Thank you.
Wait for the mic back.
We're going to have a few other folks introduce themselves. Just a second. There you go.
Good evening. I'm Matt Cole, the Director of Human Resources.
Bonnie Tewan, I'm the Chief Operating Officer.
Paul Barrett, Director of Finance.
Kim Roy Wilson, Director of IT.
Stephanie Ornette, Chief of Innovation Technology Officer.
Jessica Trevisano, Senior Advisor, Major Projects.
Liz Crow, Director of Urban Analytics and Innovation.
Mary McNamara, Director of Aging.
Kate Warren, Director of 311.
Tyson Mitchell, Director of the Mayor's Office of Equal Opportunity.
Good evening, I'm Matt Moss, Senior Strategist for Thriving Communities.
Callie Mersman, Director, City Planning.
Dave Margolius, Director of Public Health.
Mark Griffin, Law Director.
Hello, Jamie DeRosa, the Director of Mayor's Office of Capital Projects.
Good evening, Alyssa Hernandez, Director of Community Development.
Good evening, Marvin Owens, Senior Strategist for the Southeast Side.
Hi, everyone. Lucas Reeve, Senior Advisor in the Mayor's Office.
Christopher Chapin, Deputy Commissioner, EMS.
Hi, I'm Marty Kane, Director of Public Utilities.
Delonte Thomas, Chief Ethics Officer. All right, I'm last one.
I also want to take a few minutes to recognize our public officials that are in the room. Councilman Mike Polensek. Councilman Brian Casey. And we have two members of the CMSD Board of Education in attendance. Our board chair, Sarah Alicott. And board member and also Collinwood resident, Caroline Peak. And we have one more person I'm missing, folks, in the back. Oh, Councilman Harrison, I didn't see you. Councilman Harrison, give him a round of applause. Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it. So I want to just spend a few minutes talking about why I'm supporting CMSD and the board with our Building Brighter's Future Vision. Then I'll have Dr. Morgan also share a few words, and then we want to get right to your questions because I'm not here to talk. I'm here to listen and answer your questions. 4 years ago, when I ran for mayor, I heard a lot of complaints about CMSD, about the challenges that we faced as a district. And let me tell you what I heard. Number one, I heard there was a need, especially in this community on the east side, for more robust high schools and trades programs in this part of the city. The other thing I heard from many parents across the community was we wanted to make sure that our children didn't have to take 2 buses or 3 buses to get to a good, high-quality middle school, elementary school, or high school. We also heard many issues around safety and security for our scholars. And I don't take lightly that I have mayoral control of the schools. It's a moral obligation to me as the mayor of this city. And I believe that regardless of where our children come from, regardless of their zip code, they are entitled to a world-class education. But we've experienced over the last several decades a lot of headwinds that have made that promise challenging. Number one, in the early 2000s, we had roughly 70,000 scholars at CMSD, 70,000. Right now, we have roughly 35,000. That means our footprint and the number of students that we have has declined by 50%, while our footprint has remained the same. Secondly, we're seeing a lot of cuts at the state level and federal level, undermining our ability to provide high-quality education to our scholars across the city of Cleveland. I know change is very hard. I know it's hard to walk away from great memories that we have in this building alone. But let me give you a data point about what's going on in this building specifically. The average daily attendance rate at Collinwood High School right now is 96. 96 scholars are coming to this building every single day. And this building was built for roughly 1,100 scholars to walk the halls of Collinwood High School. Think about that for a second, folks. And it costs the same amount of money to keep the heat on, and I know it's hot in here. It costs the same amount of money to make sure this place is safe. It costs the same amount of money to have great teachers and great principals and great custodial staff. And that's the story in a lot of our schools across the district. And so what we are committed to doing is this. Number one, no child in this district should not have Algebra 1 before high school. It should not be acceptable that our scholars aren't getting Algebra 1 before high school. Number two, all of our scholars should have access to dual enrollment for college and career readiness. They should have access to band, sports, arts, PE. That's what's going to make our district better and more competitive for the next generation of scholars. And that's the commitment of the Building Brighter Futures plan. And so while I know this change is going to be hard, I'll tell you this. Number one, in partnership with the board and the leadership at CMSD, we want to make sure that every family has customized, individualized attention as we begin this transition. Secondly, we've expanded the school choice portal to 8 weeks this upcoming academic school year to give parents and families more time to plan for this transition. We're going to work with our families on an individualized transportation plan as well to make sure you have what you need as we contemplate this transition. And what I'm excited about is the fact that by 2031, we're going to have a brand new high school in this neighborhood that's going to offer trades, that's going to offer career tech, that's going to offer more college and career courses so our young people have the skills they need to be competitive. And so with that, I want to have Dr. Morgan just say a few words, and then we'll get right to your questions. Dr. Morgan.
Thank you. So Mayor Bibb shared a lot of the context of the challenges we're facing, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But I want to start with just thinking about my own experience. When I was introduced to this community as a CEO a few school years ago, one of the things I shared was I do this work for kids like me. And when I think about my own high school experience, where I went to a high school predominantly black students, urban neighborhood, so when I see many of our scholars, I see myself in them. But I also know that I had the opportunity, I took Algebra 1 in 8th grade, which allowed me to take pre-calculus my junior year, calculus my senior year. I was able to learn an instrument and be an all-state musician playing on the stage of Peoria, Illinois, by being an all-state musician, by having that opportunity. Being able to do interscholastic sports, being able to do all of these different activities, because those were opportunities were afforded to me just by showing up to school. They were free programs that my school offered. And if they didn't, I don't know where I would be today. Because we know the statistics for young black men in our country, and let's not forget our young black females, or all of our young scholars living in poverty. We know what those statistics are. And if we're not providing those opportunities for them, it's not like the opportunity is waiting out there for them. So I'm grateful for my experience, and there are experiences that I did not have, that when I got to college I was very well aware of, that I was not prepared for. But I was grateful that I actually had the opportunities. And when we think about today, in CMSD, in our current context, even with all the academic progress we've made, we were proud of that 3-star rating in 2024. This year, all of our test rates went up significantly. But we know that right now, only 78% of our high schools offer college credit. Collinwood High School that we're sitting in right now is not one of them, offering no college credit to those average 96 students who come here every day. 59% of our high schools offer career and trade pathway programs. Collinwood, where we're sitting in today, is not one of them. No career trade programs. 38% of our elementary schools offer enrichment programs like Algebra 1 in 8th grade, band, foreign language in the elementary grades. Only 38%. That means the majority are not getting those opportunities. And 70% of our students are in newer upgraded buildings. And you guys know that in this community, in this building, this is not one of them. It's one of our lower building condition score. So even with the progress we've made as a school system, as a community, we're failing our kids. Building Brighter Futures is our opportunity to ensure 100% of our high schools offer college credit starting next year. 100% of our high schools offering career pathways and trade programs starting next year. 100% of our elementary schools offering those enrichment courses like Algebra 1, band, foreign language, CTE programs in elementary schools starting next year. And CTE are the trade programs in elementary. And we know that over time, we can get 100% of our students in newer upgraded buildings. And you heard Mayor Bibb saying that this plan, should the board vote on this, would offer a new high school for this community in 2031 in upgraded facilities with trade programs in them. So this is our responsibility to act, to do something for our kids. We've made progress over time, but it's not enough. I'll also share, I know that this plan is big in nature. It calls for 29 fewer schools next year that will leave 18 of our buildings that will be left thinking about for reuse. I know that's big. But I'll say for all those students who are in a school that has an action on them, 100% of them will have equal or greater academic, extracurricular, sports, and student support opportunities. 96% of them will attend an equal or better star-rated school. We can't deliver on that right now. 95% of them will attend an equal or better building condition score. We can't deliver on that right now. And this plan saves us $30 million at least over a course of a few years, which takes us to over about $90 to $100 million towards our $150 million deficit. We can't deliver on that right now. So I know the question may be, can't you not do anything and still offer those programs? We can't afford it. When you have 96 students, one, you can't do the scheduling and the programming to actually offer that program in schools like this and many others across our city. It's not just impacting one community, it's all over our city. We can't afford it. It's not at scale. And also, it's not a good teacher experience because many teachers now have to double up on different courses. Many times they're the only teacher teaching in their grade level or content area. So this is an opportunity for us to scale our resources, make sure we have healthy enrollment in field buildings, and then to give that opportunity our scholars need and deserve. And that's what Building Brighter Futures is about. You know, we've been engaging with the community for about a year on this plan specifically, but we've been engaging much longer than that. As you know, when Mayor Bibb first got elected, he did a listening tour of thinking about education and listening to the community. Then there was a CEO search where there was also thousands of pieces of feedback, and as one of the candidates, I know I read through all of those pieces of feedback that the community said, we want high quality in our buildings. We are tired of not having the opportunities and the trade programs in our schools. And then I did a CEO Listen and Learn tour when I first came in, within my first 100 days, and got thousands of pieces of feedback where people were saying, we deserve quality in every single neighborhood. This plan isn't perfect. It doesn't solve all of our problems, but it's the right step, and it's the right thing to do for our kids now. Because doing nothing doesn't solve our problems, and it doesn't solve that brighter future that all of our kids need and deserve. So I just ask our community in this time, we want to lean in, listen, and hear what we have to do, but this is all of our responsibility. Of course, as the education system, we are in charge of educating our scholars and providing the best education that they need and deserve, but this is our community, and it's up to us to ensure all of our scholars in the city, no matter where they live, their background, what school they attend, have access to a high-quality education.
Thank you so much, Dr. Morgan. Okay, we'll start with questions. Thank you, Doc. Councilman Polensek.
Thank you, Mayor, and I thank you for coming out with your team. You are in a historic building here, the great Collinwood High School, and I had the pleasure of attending this school. And I've also had the honor of being inducted in our Hall of Fame. So let me just say this, Mayor, and CEO Morgan, and everyone that is here. I represent presently the 8th Ward. Come January 1st will be the new 10th Ward. I want to express my complete and total opposition to proposed closure of 3 elementary schools in the northeast side here and Collinwood High School. Mayor, I want to make it perfectly clear to you that I believe you're being misled by CMSD administration with regard to the northeast side of the city, which includes the St. Clair Superior neighborhood, Forest Hills, North Glenville, North Shore Collinwood, Collinwood Village, Nottingham, and the Euclid Green neighborhoods. What is being proposed by CMSD comes on the heels of 28 schools being closed already on the east side. 28 schools you closed already, okay? Which has been closed. As a result, neighborhoods such as St. Clair Superior, Glenville, have been totally destabilized. In fact, Glenville has lost 22% of its population in the last 10 years. The proof is in the pudding. We've gone from 33 council wards, and now starting January 1st, we'll go to 15 wards, which we have lost the equivalency of 2 wards on the east side in the last decade. Now CMSD is proposing a closing of Euclid Park Elementary School, Hannah Gibbons Elementary School, Kenneth Clement All-Boys Leadership Academy, and once was the largest high school in the state of Ohio and the pinnacle of vocational technical training programs on Cleveland's east side, our beloved historic and landmark Collinwood High School. I cannot understand for the life of me who came up with this called plan being billed as Building Brighter Futures. The new Ward 10 is referred to now as the middle neighborhood. We are on the edge of cities of Euclid, South Euclid, Cleveland Heights, East Cleveland, and Bracknell, Mayor. The plan is presented incredibly and proposes the closure of Euclid Park and Hannah Gibbons Elementary School, both newer schools, which does not mean, what does this mean for our community? 2 new schools. You asked us to support the levies, we did.
Yep.
And we're paying the highest property taxes.
Councilman Polensek.
Yes.
Get to your question.
Okay, my question, well, Mayor, the question is this. Has anybody looked at the northeast side, the map of all the charter schools that ring our neighborhood? Yeah. You close Euclid Park, you close Hannah Gibbons, you close Kenneth Clement, and now Collinwood, and with this wonderful plan. How long have we been hearing about this with Glenville and Collinwood? Where are you going to build a new school? Yeah. You strip Collinwood, Dr. Morgan, CMSD Mayor, strip Collinwood of all the vocational technical programs. ROTC, the pool sits empty for what, 8 years? I could go. So the question is this. You're going to drive, Mayor, you're going to drive the Dr. Morgan and the school board. You're going to drive people into the charter schools and out of the neighborhood, just as you've already done on the east side. You're going to destabilize our neighborhoods.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I see nothing in this plan, Mayor, and that's what I'm saying. I don't believe they're giving you the full picture.
Thank you, Councilman Polinsik. Thank you, sir.
Well,
let me address your questions and concerns.
Yeah.
First of all, and I want to thank the voters for electing me to another 4-year term, but I've only been in office, I'm in my 4th year as mayor of this great city. I know you've been in council for nearly 50 years. And let me just tell you this. Over the last 2 decades, across the entire city of Cleveland, we've lost 20% of our population. 20%. Throughout that same time horizon, we've lost 30% of all traded sector jobs across all 17 wards across the city. Because of that historic population loss, as you know, council went from 17 to 15. How do we get there? Let me tell you how we got there. Number one, we as a city failed to make hard choices about our economic future. Number two, we didn't have an economic game plan to compete with our peers in Pittsburgh, in Indianapolis, in Nashville, and Detroit. And thirdly, while we've made great progress under the Cleveland plan, and now we're making good progress under Dr. Morgan's leadership, we need to make more urgent progress to have a competitive urban school district so we can keep families in the city of Cleveland and not lose them to the suburbs. So let me talk about what we're doing with your support and partnership to reverse that trend. Number one, I want to thank you, Councilman Casey, and Councilman Harrison for supporting our $50 million investment fund. That's going to create more jobs in this neighborhood. And right now, we have nearly 100 acres under contract to develop in Collinwood to bring more jobs back to this neighborhood. The second thing we're trying to do, and listen, when I was running 4 years ago, what did you tell me? Mayor, we need a trades program on the east side in this neighborhood. And guess what? In 2031, who's going to deliver on that? CMSD is going to deliver that trades program in the northeast side of the city. Then, thirdly, the other thing that you told me to do, Councilman Polinsik, is if you close Collinwood, have a game plan for this building. So, by the first quarter of next year, working with my administration and CMSD, we're launching an RFP to make sure that this land gets developed to help accelerate the change and transformation of this neighborhood. Now, you may be smarter than me and have a different solution, but I don't know about another solution that's going to close a $150 million deficit. I don't know of one. If you have one, I am all ears. Dr. Morgan is all ears. Our board is all ears. But here's what I'm not going to do. And I didn't do this on the Browns. I'm not outsourcing our destiny to this state. I'm not outsourcing our destiny to the federal government. The things we can control, we're going to do our damnedest to control them to the best of our ability to deliver a high-quality public education that our young people deserve, now more than ever in this city. And we're making those hard choices right now.
Mayor,
Dr. Morgan, you want to talk about the elementary school component of this?
Yes. The one thing I want to share is Kenneth Clement is not closing. Kenneth Clement is getting a new building. Kenneth Clement actually has the lowest building condition score of all of our elementary schools. And so Kenneth Clement is not closing. It's getting a new elementary building.
You're moving.
And
Where to?
Yes, that's part of the plan. So make sure if you have not been on our website, and I know you were at the board meeting, it was a lot that we shared there, but it's being moved to the east side at Mary McLeod Bethune building. And so the same thing with when we think about the Stonebrook White building is getting a new building. For years we've needed a new building at the Michael R. White. It's going into the Stephanie Tubbs Jones building, being named Michael R. White Montessori, and also keeping Stephanie Tubbs Jones' name on the FDR building. So we are having those objectives for kids who have not had a good quality building. And we've heard in this community about the Kenneth Clement building. So it'll be a new building. I also want to name and we've talked a little bit about this, about over years of development, about more schools being built on, we have more schools on the east side than what we do on the west, and our population is actually a little smaller on the east than what it is on the west. What this plan would do with the 45 elementary schools we will have, there will be about an equal number of schools on the east and the west side. So this plan delivers that scale, and then also making sure that those quality programs are here. So I know that there's a sense of loss and change that we'll have to do, but I too echo what other solutions do we have to achieve the savings, but then also, let's not forget the number one objective, to ensure it's a brighter future. We can keep the building open. If these kids aren't learning, if they don't have trades, if they don't have academics, if they don't have enrichment courses, they're not going to be productive citizens. And I know you would want that for your community.
Mayor, and to Dr. Morgan. We repeatedly asked, as you know, over the years, for the trades. We asked for cosmetology programs either here or at Glenville. We asked for that, Mayor.
And guess what?
And we wouldn't get it. They wouldn't give it to us.
Through this plan, you're getting it through this plan.
Cosmetology is coming back, right?
We're getting it now.
On the east side.
But at the end of the day,
side.
listen, I would just ask you, Mayor, to do this. And again, there's other people who have questions. I would ask you to get in a car. I got the list of all the charter schools right here.
And let me just talk about the charter issue. Let me just talk about the charter issue. This is why we are going to have a game plan, and we have a game plan immediately for the 18 school sites that are closing to repurpose them to advance neighborhood and community development. Because I don't want reckless charters that we can't hold accountable to take over these school sites. I want to use those school sites for broader development in our neighborhoods. That is the plan. That is the plan.
But it's also, Mayor, the charters that are already open around us in Euclid, East Cleveland.
And
our
the
kids
best
are going to go there.
Councilman, and the best thing we can do is make CMSD the best damn school district, so those parents choose CMSD over those failing charter schools.
I look forward.
That's the goal.
Again, I'm going to end because I got people.
Yep.
I'm going to ask to meet with you privately to talk about this, because you need to see the research that we've done looking at what we're faced with here. I am greatly concerned, as I said before, about destabilized neighborhoods in Euclid Green, in Nottingham, in Collinwood Village. Neighborhoods that will be destabilized and families are going to leave or, again, move out, flee. So we have to look at the big picture. It's just not about education. It's about neighborhood stability. And I'm greatly concerned what's happened to the east side. Just look at Glenville as a result of the schools being closed, how the North Glenville has been devastated. And I'll leave it at that. And again, I'm looking forward to ongoing discussions here.
Thank you.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
I agree.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
And I don't want to have to go to the mattresses, okay? Let me tell you it that way, okay? We don't want to go to the mattresses here in Collinwood. We want you to understand the big picture we're confronted with. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Conwell.
Thank you very much. You know, I'm disappointed, and I'm disappointed with you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm disappointed with you, Dr. Morgan. I reached out to you 2 days ago. You know why? When I was walking in my neighborhood, people stopped me and asked me the questions about Mayor Bethune. Couldn't really give them the answers. You know why? Because you guys made this plan in the back room. You didn't bring in Cleveland City Council members. We shouldn't be here asking you, no, let me talk. We shouldn't be here asking you questions about a plan. When you make plans and you do projects, you bring in team leaders with you, and you bring in community stakeholders so that we can know the way. The people, they're your bosses. These are your board of directors. When we push issue 49, we got together with key stakeholders and parents, but when that's all over with, you went out and you did it in a vacuum by yourself. We're feeling the pain right along with you. And when you say, Mr. Mayor, all these things that you promised your bosses, your board of directors, we should know the way already. You had the pastors right there while we were campaigning on Tuesday to push this issue forward. And me and this man right here, Councilmember Mike Pulisic, we didn't know the way. You got to bring your key stakeholders in, because we know about Collinwood. This man graduated from Collinwood, which is a historical community. Glenville is a historical community. You got to talk with us, and then we tell the people and we bring them in and they know the way, because you're building your case. You're building your case of what to do. Now, this is in the way of you building your case. Now, let me do my conclusion. When Dr. Sanders was here, he did the same thing. When he was here, when he was here, he did the same thing. And the reason why I said that several times, Dr. Morgan, the people didn't like it, and guess what happened? They got rid of Sanders. Dr. Morgan, they got rid of him. And the same thing with historical knowledge. When Barbara Byrd Bennett was here, she tried to do a transformation plan the same way, and she excluded her bosses, the people.
Councilman Conwell, do you have a question, sir?
I'm just telling you. No, I'm telling you, we should have been in there, and why not? Why we were not included, and now you telling us so we can like your plan, but you did not include the people. Now, I'm going to do my conclusion, because you know I'll stop. I'll call you in the morning, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because I'll be mad about something. I'll do that. You got to let the people know. Mr. Mayor, this man, 50 years on city council, he could have told you the issues and concerns about Collinwood. Historically, you're right. This is history. Before you was even born, this man was in office. And when you make a plan, you got to know the way. Mike could have told you the way. Kevin Conwell could have told you the way. I'm a graduate from Glenville High School, the home of the mighty Towblooders. But we were not in on your project team, and it's a damn shame that I got to come here to talk with you about this right here. And I'm one of the leaders. I'll push issue 49. I walked the neighborhood to push issue 49. Isn't that correct, Dr. Morgan? Yes. So why did you leave me out of this plan right here?
Thank you, Councilman Conwell. Thank you, Councilman Conwell. Do you have a question, or is that it? Just a statement?
I'm asking you the why. I'm asking you the why because you created the plan.
Let me say this. Let me say this.
You created the plan.
Let me say this. Let me say this. As Dr. Morgan and I mentioned earlier, number one, we did comprehensive community engagement, outlining the challenges, also the opportunities facing the district. CMSD, with the board and Dr. Morgan in partnership, did comprehensive community meetings all across the entire city. Dr. Morgan has briefed the council president and members of council, as well as Michelle Pomerantz, our chief of education, every step of the way in terms of how we got here, the challenges ahead, and what's needed to make sure CMSD is a best-in-class district. Now, there are more stakeholders in the city than city council, and I support the partnership. You all are a co-branch of government, but at the end of the day, we did comprehensive community meetings, community engagement. The board has transparent, open meetings to the entire public where city council can come and give public comment and give insight and feedback. And that's also what we're doing here today. So as we can talk all day about.
But Mr. Mayor,
sir,
when you start executing the plan, you didn't bring us in on the execution of the plan.
And that's a part of Councilman Conwell.
Councilman Conwell. You know better. You know just like I know.
Thank you, sir.
You didn't include us on the execution.
Mr. Houston, you're up next. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Councilman Conwell. Councilman Conwell, thank you, sir.
Execution is two different things.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You got the mic and you can say all of that, but I can go right along toe to toe. Wait a minute, right along with you. It's the execution of the plan that you should have had city council right in there and said, we're going to execute this plan. We're going to bring the pastors in, council members, and then you can tell your people which way to go.
Thank you, sir.
But you didn't do it on the execution.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Mr. Houston?
We'll talk about it more.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Morgan.
There was only a couple of things I wanted to respond to that. One, before we actually went out and did our engagement in the spring, we met with all the city council. Both you as well as Mr. Councilman Polinsik were there. So I do appreciate actually getting a chance to meet with you, getting your feedback, and talking with you as you do this. And guess what? We have a lot to implement moving forward. And the way Councilman Polinsik,
in the execution of the plan, you didn't mention you were going to integrate Collinwood with Glenville.
And
in the execution of the plan, you didn't mention that you were going to put Senator Clement, I want to let you talk, with over Mary McLeod Bethune. That's the execution.
This is the execution part.
You're not talking with a dummy. I understand policy.
No, the only thing I was going to say is this is the execution part of the plan. And the final thing I will say is I came here to do good work for kids and to improve the system. I'm not here to be popular. So,
Excuse me, Councilman Conswell. Sir, excuse me, sir. Let's be respectful to everybody in the room, sir. Okay? My name is Daryl Houston, and I've been a pillar of this community for 57 years, okay? And I want to thank everybody that came out to participate in this forum. But some of the things that I'm hearing from Michael Polenzek and Mr. Conwell, who both have been here over 20 years, they're complicit to all the things that we're finna discuss tonight, okay? They're all complicit, okay? And what I mean by that is we're losing 2 city council members. That's because we're losing population numbers. That's because we're not developing our communities and we're not advertising for investors to come in our communities, for families to live and prosper, okay? I believe in you, young man, and I told you that in a meeting, and I'm telling you out loud. I've talked to the chief of police. I've talked to Mr. Drummond. I've talked to Ms. Garcia. I've talked to every single individual within this city that had any authority to make changes, okay? I am not going into another 36 months if we don't have drastic changes. You did not get dealt a fair deck, okay? I'm going to give you that. You inherited a lot of this BS, okay? And I think you have done a great job with that, and I gave you a C+, you remember? You have done a great job for a young man that all these elderly, older men in here failed to give you any wisdom, okay? All these pastors, they fell in you. Some of your administration, they fell in you, okay? You're a young, African, intelligent young man, and it's appalling to stand here and not see you get the support you're supposed to get from your elderly black leaders in this community, okay? I am tired of it, okay? Now, what's going on with the school system that I want to point out to make it very clear, this is an historical school. Glenville is an historical school. JFK is an historical school. And I'm going to ask you guys to consider this one good thing here, sir. Be careful about merging these young children together. We have situations going on out here that you're not going to be able to handle.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Houston. I want to talk about what Mr. Houston is alluding to, especially around safety.
That's correct.
And the work that we've been doing to plan for safety as we contemplate this proposed plan that the board has to approve to merge some of these high schools and other schools. We had a shooting in 2022, I believe, at John Adams High School. And what led to that shooting was they were hanging out by the bus stop, the RTA bus stop, outside of John Adams. And issues popped off at the bus stop. And what that shooting taught us was the city of Cleveland, with our police department and our violence prevention organizations and staff inside City Hall, we're not talking effectively to CMSD, their police staff, and RTA, and other external organizations, like MyCom, for example, right? Since that shooting that happened at John Adams, we have a quarterly meeting with the City of Cleveland, CMSD, RTA, CMSD Police, Cleveland Police, and other key external organizations. We meet quarterly talking about what are we doing to have an all-of-government approach around young people around safety. What has happened as a result of those conversations and meetings? Number one, for the first time in history, RTA is now coordinating bus schedules with the start and closing of schools. It was never done before. It was never done before. Secondly, historically, the City of Cleveland and CMSD weren't really coordinating with the right level of intention around making sure young people had productive things to do in the summertime. Because I know when I was growing up, I was either at Vacation Bible School, the Boys and Girls Club, I was doing something, and when them street lights came on, my behind had to be in the house, right? This past summer, with coordination with CMSD and City Hall leadership, we engaged and touched 11,000 young people and kept them off the streets this summer. So we don't take lightly the importance of the City of Cleveland working hand in hand with CMSD on making sure we address these safety concerns. Now let me tell you this, as we contemplate this transition, CMSD Police, with my command staff and other grassroots community organizations are working side by side to make sure we address the safety concerns of some of these mergers. We contemplated that in this proposed plan. And I know there's been historic beef between certain neighborhoods versus other neighborhoods, right? We understand that. Collinwood and Glenville, we recognize that. But let me tell you this. There are 96 students in this building. 96. So, as we do this transition, we will work with these families to make sure they feel safe, and we have the commitment from the board and Dr. Morgan to build the right kind of culture in this new high school. So I want to have Dr. Morgan and then maybe Chief Todd talk about some of the safety things we've been planning. Dr. Morgan?
Yeah, as Mayor Bibb shared, we already have a coordinated safety group that works together to think about safe passage that not only includes Cleveland Police Department, the CMSD Police Department, but RTA, Cleveland Public Library, and we're already thinking about how those efforts double up. Also with this plan, this allows us to have actually more security officers in our buildings because we won't have as many security officers spread thin, so that allows us to support that. The other thing I would say is we're an open choice system, and we've been an open choice system for nearly 2 decades now, and so students come from all over the city currently. There are many, when we did our analysis of where students are actually coming from to attend high school, there's a student attending Collinwood right now that actually lives in the southwest side of the city and is traveling all the way here. And we don't know those circumstances why they're coming here, but neighborhoods are already currently mixing together. And the efforts we've been doing actually has decreased serious incidents in schools over the past few years. So we want to continue to double down on those efforts. And then the other thing I would say about choice enrollment, families have the choice. Students will have the reserved seat at their welcoming school should the board vote on this plan. But they also can choose any school that they would wish to choose if there are others that will meet their needs. So those are things that we'll look into, and I do appreciate that feedback as we move forward. And look.
Thank you, Mr. Houston.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, ladies, for your attention. Todd,
Chief,
go ahead.
Chief.
Yes, thank you. So one of the things we've done is we have developed a really strong relationship with CMSD Police. Chief Dotson communicates with us, not only through emails, phone calls, but constantly in text threads. If they have a concern at a school, a concern with a student, an event that's coming up, we constantly communicate and formulate plans and how to address it together. So this is an ongoing partnership that we have, and this will continue, and it will continue to grow stronger as we proceed through the next school year.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Houston. Next question.
Hello, I want to preface this with who I am first. My name is Sarah Hodge. I'm a lifelong resident of Cleveland, Ohio. I am not a resident of Collinwood, but I am a teacher here. I've been going to Cleveland School since I was 4 years old. I'm a graduate of East Tech, and I've been teaching for 25 years. I have 2 specific questions I want to ask, but I have to preface it to make sure we have facts. And because you guys are speaking up there, I love you all, but you're not telling facts. There are 89 ninth graders right now who attend Collinwood High School. You pay me overages for my 5th period class. That's not possible if only 96 people attend. You may prove it by going into Power School right now, log in a Power School, and count the number of students. We erased all of our no-shows from our data. So you may log in a Power School right now. The other thing is that I want to correct a couple of things. You're saying that we don't have the ability to offer algebra unless we close schools. All teachers get a 4 through 9 certification who teach in junior high schools and K-8s. So the 4 through 9 certification allows you to also teach 9th grade, which is Algebra 1. So every single math teacher you currently have in Cleveland schools who has a 4 through 9 certification could have been teaching Algebra 1 already. It does not require the closure or merger of 39 schools. Why? Why? Because you didn't hire people when people retired. In this school currently at Collinwood, We have an open position for 5 years for physical science, filled by a long-term substitute. We have an open position for multiple years for a special ed teacher. You can merge us with Glenville, but you will not provide high-quality instruction until you hire teachers. The last thing you mentioned was music. You received a grant from Melinda Gates to provide music at every K-8 and high school in the whole district. And that money was misused either by you or Eric Gordon, I don't know. I don't know who misused it, but it never went towards instruments. It never went towards teachers. It never went towards anything. The other thing that you're saying too is that you're closing because 20% less people live in this neighborhood, but you're closing 90% of their schools. How can you close all of their K-8s, all of their high schools, all of their junior highs? You have not given people who live up in a corner of Waterloo and Lakeshore an option to get their kids to school safely. You're saying 13-year-old, 6-year-old, get on a bus at 6 a.m., walk to the bus stop on Waterloo, walk to it, then ride it all the way down 152nd Street in the dark, and then ride all the way down St. Clair with rival gangs who want to kill you. So those are the facts that we have to get straight before I even talk about my question. So that's just, and then the other thing is you said at the beginning of your presentation that you would want to avoid, and you spoke with people about avoiding 2 to 3 bus rides to get from school. You are now dooming this neighborhood from kindergarten to high school to 2 to 3 bus rides every day to get home in the daytime and in the dark. It doesn't matter. 2 to 3 bus rides for every person. That's what you said you were against. You also said that we cut the schools. You're cutting the schools because of low population. We had 150 schools in that first thing when you said it was 70,000 students. We do not have 150 schools now because we already comprehensively cut the number of schools that we had. And we cut it because we were down to 38,000. So we've already made the cuts under Eric Gordon to cut the schools, and that's what Mr. Polensek was trying to say to you when you cut them off. That we've already cut 28 schools. We've already cut elementary schools. We've already consolidated. That's just correction of information. And I'm not trying to embarrass anybody. Now I'm going to go to the 2 questions that I have, and they're for you, Mr. Bitt, okay? The first question is, what oversight does the mayor plan to offer for the budget of Building Brighter Futures? And I say this because the district's own data said that this school year, 2025 school year, the district was supposed to save $61.8 million by reducing extended day, all year schools, by reducing central administration, office administration, and by doing all of that, they were supposed to have a savings of $68.1 million. You've projected that you would have a $151 million deficit 5 years from now. But in the year 2023, this district had a surplus. That is published. The budget for 2024 was not published. So it has not been transparent. And that's what Polensek and all the council people are saying, has not been transparent with the public about what the actual budget is. So my question to you, number 1, because I got 2, is what oversight do you plan to offer for real budget hearings that take the $1 billion budget, $1 billion, that the school district has to educate 35,000, the $1 billion budget, what oversight do you plan to offer for that with real budget hearings, real dollars, real receipts that sit down and look, is it necessary to destabilize the city, or can you save money in a different manner? Because that's not happening, it's not public, it's not transparent. If I want to see what the water department budget is, I click on their website. And I could see the budget, I could see what they spent, I could see what they owe, I could see their receipts, I could see every column. Okay, so what is your plan to offer oversight for Building Brighter Futures budget?
Thank you. First, thank you for your commitment to our students. We appreciate your service to the district. Let me just say this. Number one, when I made the comment about an average daily attendance rate of 96, that was not saying that that's the number of kids in the building. That's saying the average number of students coming in the building every single day. Secondly, let me be clear. When we went to the voters last year and got support for our levy, we were very clear in that campaign, and this community overwhelmingly supported that campaign and that levy campaign and that levy effort. We said we have a declining number of students across the entire district, too many buildings, not enough children, to make sure we're offering high quality options in every part of the city. That's the intent, and that is the goal of this plan. Now, in terms of your second question about the oversight.
It was only one question.
Well, I got it. Let me get to your other point about oversight of the budget. I have full confidence in our board chair and our board to help manage the budget in partnership with Dr. Morgan. I will tell you this, and I'll be very frank about this. We got hundreds of millions of dollars to go to this district during the COVID-19 pandemic, funding called the ESSER funds. And guess what we did? And I wasn't in office when this happened, but guess what we did? We spent money, right? And didn't attach an ongoing revenue to keep that funding sustained, right? So we were spending money that we know we couldn't afford once the ESSER funds went away, right? Budget 101 says if you have an expense, an ongoing expense, match that expense with ongoing revenue.
That's why we passed the levy.
We didn't do that. But to your point about the levy campaign was a stopgap. It wasn't a solution. You know why? Number one, in this state, the U.S. Supreme Court has determined how we fund public education is what? Unconstitutional. Number two, we're spending billions of dollars in corporate welfare on vouchers and not funding in public education in cities like Cleveland across the state. And then thirdly, we have an administration in the White House that wants to dismantle the Department of Education. So that's less money for special ed and CMSD, less money for out-of-school time programs at CMSD.
You didn't answer the question. The question was, how do you plan to oversight? You said the board.
Can I finish, ma'am? Can I finish, ma'am?
Yes, you can.
Can I finish, ma'am? The state is not coming to save us, right? And so I want to have Dr. Morgan talk about the budget measures.
The question was to you.
He is the CEO of CMSD, and he will talk about the budget measures they've deployed and executed to make sure the district is on a sustainable financial future. Yeah. Dr. Morgan?
No, and Mayor Bibb answered quite a bit of some of the things I was sharing. Thank you, Ms. Hodge. I always appreciate your leadership and also being here as a teacher in Collinwood. And since you talked about some facts, I also wanted to make sure some of the facts were the full picture of the facts were shared there. So, Mayor Bibb also shared about the average daily attendance. So that's not the total number of students, but that's the average daily attendance. So two things can be true at the same time. I remember coming to visit a class here once. I visited an English class where there were 3 kids that I observed there that day. I don't know how many were on the roster in Power School, but 3 kids that came. They were on a field trip. So we do need to make sure that we have, the kids actually have a really strong education. The other thing I'll mention, you mentioned about music. So we do have music in every single elementary school, and we're proud of that, and we continue to. But if students want to play an instrument, or if they want to be competitive in choir, we don't have the ability nor the scheduling to offer that. The same thing with Algebra 1. You're right with those 4-9 certificates. With such a small population, in some of our elementary schools, there's 20 students on that roster, 2 which may qualify for Algebra 1. You can't actually do a scheduling like that. And one of the agreements that we have, we don't want to ensure that there's not virtual instruction for Algebra 1. So to ensure that there's a period, you do need to have more resources and to schedule scale your resources. So two things can be true at the same time. You're right about those licenses, and it doesn't mean you have the operational efficiency. You mentioned about the 23 budget. Mayor Bibb shared that correctly. We had the ESSER dollars. When I entered in, the district was in fiscal precaution. Because of the measures we've taken, we exited fiscal precaution. We have not been in fiscal precaution since. Each year we've been taking measures. And if you want to see the budget, one, I can share it with you, but it's also on board docs. Actually, our chief financial officer just presented a presentation to the board in October where you can see our budget. We are required to submit a 4-year forecast twice in a year, in which we need to be in black in the year and 2 years out. Once we've exited fiscal precaution, our district has not been in risk of being taken over by the state because of the measures we've been taking. And that shows not only the measures we've taken when we lost ESSER funds in '24, it shows also the measures we've taken to consolidate this calendar. You talked about that, the extended day that saved us $27 million over 3 years. We changed our school-based funding formula. That saved us $20 million over a year. Building Brighter Futures will save us $30 million over a year. So you're kind of seeing the math as it adds up when we think towards that 150. So I just want to say, you shared some facts. I just wanted to add some color to the facts there, because two things can be true at the same time. But I appreciate
Two things cannot be true at the same time.
Thank you, ma'am. We
cannot.
appreciate it so
It's
much.
either
We got to make time for the next question.
I have one more question. I'm going to ask it.
We got it.
No, I'm going to ask the other question. It's not a big deal. You have time to close us. You have time to put our cleaners out of work. You have time to put our lunch aides out of work. You have 5 seconds to listen to my other question. My other question is asking about the fact that at what point do the leaders that all sit up here of the city of Cleveland plan to allow parents and communities to have a legitimate mechanism for oversight for how their tax dollars are spent concerning the schools? Currently, we have mayoral control of the schools. And the reason I address my question to you, Mayor Bibb, is because you are the community oversight. You cannot say it's the board's job. Because if the board messes up, or if they make a mistake, I'm not done. There has to be community oversight. That's the purpose, to make sure the best use of tax dollars happens. However, in Cleveland, the people are disenfranchised. They cannot vote for school board. They have no PTA, no SPOs, no SCCs. All they get is a community meeting that you guys referred to with a PowerPoint lecture and a physical index card that they get to write questions on, that some of them get answered and some don't. For example, today you guys don't even have a sign-in sheet to call people back with the questions that they wrote so that you can answer them. You're supposed to have a sign-in sheet for everybody. That's part of a meeting.
I believe there's a sign-in sheet.
Okay, so my
outside.
question is, we spent $50 million per year, because that is the levy from November of 2024, will provide you an extra 8.6 mils, $50 million per year, and $295 million in bonds to replace, rebuild, and repair schools. At what point does the leadership of the city of Cleveland plan to allow parents and community to have a legitimate mechanism for oversight? Because if you refuse to provide oversight with mayoral control, are you going to go with us on the plan to make sure that the voters are re-enfranchised to vote for their school board?
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. In my earlier comments, ma'am, I was not saying I'm outsourcing my oversight. I meet weekly and monthly with Dr. Morgan and the board. We work in partnership to make sure we have the best outcomes for children. That's why we're supporting Dr. Morgan and the board on the Building Brighter Futures plan. And listen, the voters of the city always have a choice. They always have a choice. I'm a big believer in democracy, and so if the voters of the city want to have an elected school board, then let the voters decide that. But right now, there is mayoral control of the schools, and now I'm not objecting my responsibility in leadership. Me being here today, taking your questions, is a part of that leadership. Us making the hard choices to make sure that this district can provide a high-quality, equitable education from Collinwood to West Park is a part of what we're doing right now. Now, if you have a grand plan to solve a $150 million deficit over 5 years, I'm all ears. Thank you. I'm all ears. Thank you. Thank you. Next question. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. I appreciate you so much. Next question.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, to the panel, Dr. Morgan. My name is Greg Wheeler, and I am the head football coach here at Collinwood, as well as the assistant basketball coach. I'm also a Collinwood High School graduate, and I also reside in the Glenville area. Right. So I have a very unique perspective about what's actually going on here. And I think what I would like to do, first of all, I have some issues with some of the integrity of the process, so to speak. Try to take the emotion out. Let's just deal with business, okay? So one of my questions, I have a couple of questions, and I'm gonna try to get through them real quick, and I'm really hoping that I get a comprehensive response, okay? If the school buildings that house Collinwood and Glenville are in unsatisfactory condition, aren't there better sites available to house these populations? That's question number one. Okay. Other schools have been consolidated with Glenville in the past, which were East High School and MLK. Mm-hmm. They have already attempted to consolidate Collinwood into Glenville in 2019, but the community fought against the merger. If Glenville cannot maintain the population after 2 consolidations and the Collinwood community doesn't want it, why try again 6 years later? Okay. And several schools that are being closed were built after 2000. The district states that closures and mergers are needed due to enrollment decline. There are indicators that tell school districts where to build schools and if a school would be viable. What data and statistics were used to justify rebuilding schools in areas with declining enrollment? Who should be held accountable for this error?
Thank you, Coach. Dr. Morgan?
Yeah, thank you, Coach. I appreciate your leadership on and off the field and really enjoy our new facility, the football stadium that we have right across the way. A few things I want to share in addressing that. So you mentioned about school buildings in this area. There are no quality school buildings for the high school students when you're thinking about that, which is one of the reasons why we have to build and thinking about that for the future. Both Collinwood and Glenville. Collinwood has a little bit better of a building condition score. Glenville has a little bit better of a building condition score than Collinwood, but both need work, and our scholars deserve more. When we think about the historic decline in birth rates, which is the main driver of our enrollment decline, our data shows that families are choosing CMSD consistently over the past 5 or 6 years. The main driver are birth rate decline. So you're right, East High, MLK, and there was a time where there were more students for that. And now between the two campuses, we're stretching resources then to the fact that students in this building don't have college and career opportunities. And so we're not even able to provide that opportunity to them, because we're not able to scale. We do have some programs over at Glenville in terms of the career. We have no college readiness programs at Glenville. So actually when we bring them together, we'll have that opportunity to do that. And so that is the brighter future part, because I understand there's emotion attached to this. And one of the things I was sharing there, and I didn't get a chance to really finish up with Councilman Conwell, I know that these are tough decisions. And I came here to do good work for kids. And I know that they're tough decisions that come, they come along with it. And I wish I wouldn't have to make all the tough decisions. No one walks into a role and says, hey, I need to make all these tough decisions, or I have to make all of the challenging things. That's not fun. And no one wants to sit in it. I don't think any of you would say you would want to be in my seat right now. But our kids deserve it. Our kids deserve it. I can't look at the kids that attend here or other schools and say, you're not getting that opportunity. I can't in good conscience lead a system that way. And to that point, this is our community. And we all should be looking at ourselves in any seat that we're saying our kids deserve better. They need more. And so that's why we're doing this plan. So you mentioned the school buildings, you mentioned, there was a last question that you mentioned about, was it about oversight?
Yeah, the last question that I had for you was, there are indicators, well, There are indicators that where to build schools, and over time, I know there are forecasts, things of that nature.
Based on neighborhood, yep.
Okay? So we're talking less than 20 years in, and we're closing new buildings. Okay? That's an issue for us, because when you came to us as taxpayers, we supported that with the understanding that we would have the type of resources that we needed in our neighborhood. And now we turn it around in a very short period of time, and that's being taken away. Yes, you're absolutely right, and some of these are newer buildings. When we started segment 1, that was almost about 25 years ago. So for a lot of us, that does feel recent. 25 years ago, that's a generation. I mean, the kids now who are in school now weren't even born then. And one of the things I want to level set now by saying this plan won't solve all the issues. I know that 10, 15 years from now, someone's going to say, what were they doing? They should have taken off more buildings offline. Because the decisions you make the best decisions given the information you have now. We've already showed that 20 years ago, we had 70,000 students. That was the other thing Ms. Hodges mentioned about the number of buildings. Yes, we don't have 150, but we have over 100 programs for 34,000 students. That's not an efficient model. When I look at some of our high schools that are on the same campus, we have multiple high schools on one campus where you have 3 principals, sometimes in that school, multiple APs in that school, a dean. I don't know a high school in this country that operates 8 to 10 administrators for under 1,000 students. It's not efficient. I don't know a high school in this country. And so we have to look at our models and the work that we're doing, and this is the model and the analysis that we're doing, and it will change over time. We are looking at demographic analysis to see where the students are. I do know that there's some investments on the southeast side and different things like that, which is why there's an opportunity with building reuse. There's an opportunity with building reuse should the board vote on this plan to think about how do we invest back into the communities, but also which buildings might we decide to keep online. We have an office space that's down that will end in 2028 that and I've said this when I first came in, that if we hadn't just renewed that lease before I started, our offices could move in some of these buildings and thinking about it. We can have our central office that's even more proximate to the community. So these are things and decisions that are ahead of us, and we are looking at it, but I do appreciate your question. They are not easy decisions, but it's necessary for our kids.
Thank you, Coach. Next question.
My name is LaDonna Wheeler. I am Coach Wheeler's wife. I am not a CMSD graduate. I did not attend CMSD at all. But I have several questions, and I just want to say, I hope you understand why everyone is so emotional, because I was here in 2019 and when we were fighting the merger, and I didn't understand fully until just recently. And let me tell you, there was a whole lot of smoke and mirrors, a whole lot of smoke being blown up in front of us. I'm trying to keep it PG. And and it did not come to fruition. So, of course, our residents here, we are really emotional, upset, and why we are grilling you so hard, because we want to know, is it going to happen? So, here's my questions. I have 2. Why 2031? Why can't 2028? I understand there's a building already on the west side. What school is that? That's already being built.
Yeah, Lincoln West.
I mean, it seems like buildings were just popping up over there on the west side. And why is this location, why is the northeast side of Cleveland so ignored? My second question, well, that's my third, it's gonna be my third question. To you, Mayor, and your community development, what is the plan to improve the quality of life on the northeast side of this city? And I mean, not just business, but also the quality of houses. Housing, not just affordable housing, but the quality of housing. We have 100-year-old houses that all of our residents are living in, me included. The house I live in is 115 years old. What is going to be the plan for the community development person, director, She announced herself over there. And I need to know, because, Mayor, I'm gonna be truthful with you. When I was in that voting booth, it was pretty hard for me to check your name. It was difficult. It was real difficult because I ain't seen nothing. I did not see any improvement. I didn't see nothing. And the other person that we had to vote against, and I was like, So I'm giving you a D right now. That young man said he gave you a C+. I'm giving you a D.
A D for distinguished, right?
A D that means a whole lot of, you got room for improvement, sir. And I mean, what would be the plan for quality of housing, and not just the housing, the business buildings here in this area? They are so run down. Our city on this side of town, it looks horrible. And there's nothing new.
Let's get to your, we got a lot of
what
folks
is the
behind
plan?
you. So
yes.
let me,
and please don't do that. What is the plan? We need to know the question. No smoke, no mirrors,
Gotcha.
please.
I'm gonna answer your second question first, and then I'm gonna have Dr. Morgan talk about how we work with the Ohio Facilities Organization to finance the new building of all of our schools across the entire city. It's a very complex process. Dr. Morgan's gonna talk about that. Let me address your second question. And number one, we are gonna work to get better every day, me and my entire team. Here's what we're doing around housing. First and foremost, we have finite resources around how do we get more units of affordable and workforce housing developed and market rate housing developed in the city of Cleveland. Here's what we've done to address that on a near-term basis. Through council support and partnership, we launched a $100 million housing investment fund, all focused on bringing online more units of affordable and workforce housing. Many of those projects targeted in those funds is for the northeast part of the city. Secondly, I would tell you this. Before I took office, we had a major issue, and we still do, with predatory, racist landlords preying on our city. And you know what we discovered? We didn't have a lot of tools to hold these people accountable. So we worked with grassroots activists like Ed McDonald, who I see here, many members of council. We worked to pass the most comprehensive piece of housing policy called Residents First. Here's what it does. Number one, we now can issue civil tickets in a court of law to hold these out-of-state predatory racist landlords and investors accountable. Number two, if you purchase a vacant structure or a vacant property in the city of Cleveland, just like the suburbs now, there is a point of sale inspection on the exterior of that property. Thirdly, we now are requiring a local agent in charge. So if you're an investor in New York, or in some cases, we got investors all the way in Australia buying land in Cleveland, China, for God's sake, as Councilman Polensek mentioned. Before this law got passed, we didn't have any way to hold these folks accountable in building and housing court, or even criminal court in that case. Guess what? We passed that law. Now, every out-of-state investor has to have a local agent in charge who lives in Northeast Ohio that we can hold accountable in a court of law. Because of this, we just got a settlement in Shaker Heights for $20 million. $20 million. So, ma'am, I'm frustrated with the pace of change. I'm frustrated with progress. I want to get better, right? And we've been working as quickly as we possibly can with City Council to increase and improve our housing stock. The last thing I would say about this is this, about small businesses. Historically, we had too much red tape and too much damn process for small businesses to access our storefront renovation program. We just streamlined that process so it's easier for small businesses to access that grant program. There is more to do, absolutely, but we are trying to create the best conditions, especially on the east side, for good quality job growth, good quality housing stock to attract and retain families. And as I heard from many voters knocking on doors, what do they want in this neighborhood? Number one, a trade school in the northeast part of this city, and number 2, high quality schools. And we believe this plan will get us that long term. Dr. Morgan, you want to talk about the first question?
Yeah, a few things I want to share. So you mentioned 2031. That's the earliest we could do to deliver on the process, because once we get approval, the board and the state approved us to build a new high school. You have to go through a process of getting the floor plan and the architecture design for it, then there's community engagement with it, then you break ground, and that's about the soonest we have for it, the 2030-2031 school year. Same thing with the new Lincoln West, which started a little earlier, but they'll be in 2030. So that's the process that takes place. The other thing I will say, and I know in our community meetings we shared this about the Northeast side, in the Northeast side, for our traditional elementary, comprehensive neighborhood elementary schools, 100% of our elementaries in the Northeast are actually newer. They were built in the last 20 years. So when you're talking about investments, actually we just closed 2 buildings last year on the west side because they aren't quality buildings. We closed Walden. We had to emergency close Newton D. Baker. There's several other buildings on the west side that we haven't been able to develop. So that's actually one of the myths when we went out in the community. The northeast and the southeast side actually has newer buildings, which is one of the challenges with them being under-enrolled. There's some of these buildings that are being recommended to be reused. So there has been an investment in Northeast, and we also want to think about the programs. You know, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but I wasn't here in 2019 when the decision, you know, probably sitting in a room like this with a lot of passion, lots of great ideas, lots of great questions that everyone's bringing tonight, and the decision was made not to do anything with this school. And years later, enrollment hasn't increased. We still have no college and career programs. You know, we're on Senate League probation actually at the school because of the enrollment, that we can't even have enough students to do sports. That's not the quality experience we want our scholars to have, and it's not what they deserve. And so I do ask, as we have the passion in this room, and there's so much passion, and I shared before, no one wants to make the tough decisions. No one wants to have to be that hard, to make the hard decisions, but we must for our kids. And so I just wanted to make sure that that was something that was shared as well. And we're working closely with OFCC. The final thing I'll also share is we have a bond accountability council that it's an outside council, so a bit of this actually gets to the accountability that's set up to hold the school system accountable, not only for facilities, but also in some cases some budget issues. It's an outside council. It's been set up for you know, a couple of decades now to really hold the district accountable on the way we're going through our segment plans and also the way in which we're spending the funds towards that. So that is something we have in place and an entity that supports us.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
One question. Where is the new school going to be?
We're working on that. We're working with the city partners to actually figure out where that land will be. That's a big part of also why it takes that time. We have to develop that land. Yep.
Thank you. Sir?
Hi, Gene Fearing, 71 graduate, Collinwood. I just want to know, you know, I've been here in the school here since '67. I've been through whatever Collinwood or down in the neighborhood coming up and fighting and all that. I had to leave in 8th grade, went to Max Hayes trade school. Had to leave Max Hayes because the foundry was bad over there, and I wanted to graduate from Ford foundry, but then I heard they were closing up, and I ended up with General Motors, Court Road. A long-time Collinwood resident. Got a good job at Collinwood. Went to Fisher Body Court Road plant. Went to Fisher Body Euclid plant. But all this was, you know, I started here when it was 7th grade, all the way to 12th. How come this don't happen from Glenville to Collinwood and merge with Collinwood, or even these grade schools, because they were 7th grade back then? How come we can't go 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, to 12th, like I did?
Thank you. Dr. Morgan, you want to talk about, from an educational standpoint, what it means from 7 to 12 versus 7 to 8th and then 9th through 12th?
Exactly. You know, that's one of the things I know when I was doing my listening tour, there were questions about grade configuration. We did ask the community for it. There were some people that are big on grade configuration, having middle schools. There were others that said they would not. Actually, there were more that said they would not. They liked the K-8 structure than the high school structure. But either way, you know, there's a lot of research out there about middle schools and what the grade configuration has. And you can find research that is for that configuration. You can find research that is not. But we found more than anything, it's important that our kids have a middle school experience, and we can deliver on that middle school experience by actually having the enrollment necessary in our buildings. So when we're talking about those enrichment courses, in a lot of our elementary schools, they're so small where there's only 20 sixth graders, maybe 25 seventh graders, 13 to 14 eighth graders, and they're not switching classes. They're not able to have different courses. They are in one class, and then we're throwing them into high school, and they're not prepared. And so we can deliver on that middle school experience by actually having more students enrolled in a building, bringing those enrichment courses back, and this plan actually calls for having CTE, which are those trade programs, starting in the 7th and 8th grade. And so that is actually part of the plan, to actually have that middle school experience, and that'll be in every single one of our elementary schools as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Next question.
I want to tell you something. I'm going to tell you a little story. I lived on Maple Street.
Oh, I think I knocked on your door.
Yes, you sure enough did.
Yeah.
And the young lady, I had my porch with air conditioning on it. And I was playing Miss Aretha Franklin, the gospel album. You walked up on my porch, it was carpet all the way down. I sat in front of your office several times to see you. I didn't get through. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, he's a hard man to find. Now, me and my girlfriends, we talk about you. We say, he looks like a nerd. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about a nerd. A nerd, he's very educational. He's a multi-billionaire. He rides to work on a skateboard, and he owns all types of stuff on the internet. You see him come to the White House all the time. They call those nerds. Nerds now is the new sexy man. I wish I would have married a nerd, put it that way. But you know what? I think you got good knowledge in you. You told me at our Maple, there was a school right there. You told me, you said, we ain't gonna tear it down. They put a gate on our Maple school. The kids could lift it up, tear it down. I went around. Now it's a big giant gate there with my money. I told the boys I grew up with to cut the grass. Y'all made a rule. If they take a lawnmower and go down to the Justice Center and get a camera and take a picture of the field and bring the camera back, the boys get the money. A couple boys got together, they cut in the fields, they take the picture, they get the money. I even seen one man walking with a camera from down there to the field and cleaned it and get the money. That stopped. But a couple boys went ahead on with it, sir. Now they big managers with the trucks coming down it. They stop at my house.
Yeah.
They say, I remember you. I said, can y'all go over there and work with that school? They cleaned it up. They got it together. It is spick and span. Our Maple School, I went to. Collinwood High School, I went to. Glenville, I went to. Margaret Speller said, I went to. I even went to St. Aloysius. Come on now. I'm telling you, and let me tell you something. When we did something bad, trust me, we was punished in the right way.
Yeah.
Downtown Justice Center didn't have our ages in it, okay? You knew when you did something wrong and you fell asleep and you felt that cover come off that bed and that whip come across your leg, they didn't go to school and the teacher say you had child abuse. No, they didn't have a number to call for me when my mama got me together.
Okay.
But guess what? I ain't in jail.
All right.
Guess what? I ain't got no record.
You got your question, ma'am?
I'm going to get to my question, but you got to listen to what I say, because I want you to give me my question, and I also want you to understand where my question is coming from and how much I love my street.
Yes, ma'am.
With my money.
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
yes,
our Maple School over there was run by Miss Shields. Eddie Road in Bracknell, the exit when you get off there is a good exit. Now, y'all talking about these schools and moving this and moving that. What about the schools that's still there? They're standing there, getting dirt on them, and then they turn them into crack houses. Then they go inside of them. You know, they found somebody dead in the back of our Maple School. You know, all he got was a pole and some tissues and some bottles and some candles. Well, it's all gated up now, sir. It's all cleaned up. And I got 2 questions for you and that police lady right there. I got 2 questions to let y'all know when y'all came down my street.
Yes, ma'am.
You seen them fields? You seen the 4 houses I own? You seen all that, but God didn't bless me. Now, they was clean, they was pretty. I got 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
My husband came out from the backyard, and you raised out your hand to shake his hand. He was a white guy. They say I'm mad for the money, maybe I did. Let me tell you something.
No comment.
She went to it ain't gonna be no comment made. She came to my husband, you right there, lady, with your pretty hair today. You told me, and you told him, you said, and you got on my porch, we're not gonna tear it down. We're gonna turn it into something different. I said, thank you so much. Now keep your word, because I got all my votes together, and I said, I want you to do this. Don't tear that my school down.
Okay.
And she said that she was gonna turn it into a police academy. You said you're gonna try. Yes, you remember me, baby.
I know
honey, I know you remember me. And I said that's a good thing, cause you know what? I like handcuffs. I'm telling you, I like handcuffs, so I ain't got no problem with it, baby.
All right.
I ain't got no problem with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
All right, I got you.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I'm really happy you brought that up.
Okay. So now do what you say. Because I went to go vote for you.
Yeah, I know.
It was a bad day.
I appreciate you.
I was worried about my reins getting taken.
Yeah.
But I went on ahead and voted for you.
I got you. So let me just say this. One, I agree with you 100%. That's why we've been working very closely with the board and CMSD and my staff and team at City Hall to make sure that if the Building Brighter Futures plan is approved, we have an immediate strategy for these 18 school sites.
That's right.
So what can that mean? Well, number one, it can mean redevelopment for housing or mixed-use development. Think about what Brian Casey has done with the old Hawthorne School in West Park. That's an example. Number 2, we still have a lot of capital needs for city departments at City Hall. We can use some of those building sites to expand City Hall and expand city services in neighborhoods. Or we need more green space, equitable green space, especially in the east side, right? To enhance the tree canopy. So we want to make sure we will make sure we have an immediate plan for these 18 school sites.
That's right. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
So we have a plan for it. We have a plan. Thank you.
You have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
How's it going, Mr. Mayor?
Good, sir.
Dr. Morgan. I'm Robert Gatewood, graduated from Collinwood High School in 2003, graduated Cleveland State, 14. I've spoken with you a few times. I've seen you at every meeting you've had in this building, all 3. I guess that's extensive. My main issue, and actually, you guys have a hard job. I get it. You're looking at a district level. You're looking at a city level, but Cleveland is a city of neighborhoods, and each neighborhood's different, and the way you're approaching it whole cloth, I think, is probably a bad tack, but it's yours to do it with. Before my question, I have to take issue with one thing, Mr. Mayor. Please don't refer to our Collinwood building as land, not land. You may not have meant it, but it was very instructive of how I think a lot of people see this building. It's not just land. It's a historical landmark. It's not going to go anywhere, and thanks to both my council people, Polenzek and Hairston, there's an unwillingness to hear green space, land, sites. That's not what Collinwood High School is. If other neighborhoods don't feel that way about their schools, that's on them, but you're not going to hear that from us.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
My question, really, given that kind of took me off base a bit, when it comes to an RFP process, similar, I don't know that I'm comfortable given what I've seen. Because again, you guys weren't here when Mr. Gordon and a lot of us here were trying to reconfigure our school. When they tried to close it then, we fought it. Whether we were resourced properly or not is up for debate. What way are you going to make sure that the RFP process is not bog standard, it's not vanilla, it's not Cleveland, it's Collinwood focused?
Great.
What ways can we understand that that's going to happen that way?
Well, the best way I can paint a picture for you is give you a concrete example of what we've done in the southeast side. As you know, we demolished the old JFK High School and built a brand new JFK High School in the southeast.
That's not a great example to start with, given where we are.
Can I finish, sir, please?
You can, but understand.
Thank you. So, as we contemplated what to do with the old JFK High School, we had a robust process with the community. We worked in tandem with the council person at the time. We also worked in tandem with the Harvard Community Service Center. Marvin Owens, who is my strategist for the Southeast Side, brought a lot of key stakeholders together. And now we have a robust plan to redevelop the old JFK High School site into a catalytic development in the Lee Harvard neighborhood with community input.
Certainly.
Now, if the board does approve the Building Brighter Futures plan, and if we get approval, we will move forward with an RFP and work in tandem with Councilman Polincic and this neighborhood to ensure whatever we develop or reimagine for this historical site, it's reflective of the needs, conditions, and the aspirations of the Collinwood neighborhood. And there is a lot in the pipeline for this part of the city. I talked earlier in my comments, you all were a historic site and neighborhood for legacy industry and legacy manufacturing. And those sites have sat empty and vacant for generations. We are doing something about them now, right? And now imagine if once we hopefully bring a trade school to this part of the city, that could be a great pipeline to the new jobs that we intend to attract and retain in this neighborhood, right? So we want to make sure whatever we intend to do, if the board approves this plan, that we do it in consultation and concert in community with residents like you.
Can I get one quick question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I get your commitment and understanding that this is a historical landmark?
Absolutely.
You understand that this building cannot be knocked down?
Absolutely. My apologies that I failed to mention that. My apologies, sir. Thank you so much. Yep. Next question.
I want to just say, Dr. Morgan, I know this is a hard job. I've been to pretty much 60% of the Building Brighter Futures, and I understand. I'm a parent who put their kid in a CMSD school. I do not live in the district. I do not live in the city. But we chose to send her to the Performing Arts School because we trusted what was going on. Now, I'm speaking here as a parent, but I'm going to put on my organizer hat because I am actually a parent organizer with Ohio Organizing Collaborative. And one of the things, this is not for you, Dr. Morgan, you are okay in my book, but Mr. Bibb, Mayor Bibbs, when are you going to take a legitimate stand and stand up against State Representative Matt Huffman, who is taking dollars and funding them to private schools, because that's what has not been mentioned, is that a lot of our dollars are going to fund private education for parents who have the funding to send their kids to private education. I say this being a parent who had to make a choice. I live in Shaker. I had to make a choice to send my child 1 year to a private school, and when I was told by that private school that I could be given a voucher when I make 6 figures, is asinine and backwards. Mr. Bibbs, I think it is highly suspect that you planned this after the election, a week after the election. I have a PhD and I have an undergrad in political science. This was strategy, my brother, strategy. And the last thing I'm going to say is I know you have class because your cousin is my neighbor, Leon, and Jennifer and all the rest. I know. And so when you sat up there and you were cheeky about the slips, and you had no intention of writing down our questions and getting back to us until you got called on it.
That's not true.
I'm going to tell you.
Yes, ma'am.
It is unacceptable that a mayor of a major city is not taking a stand on these vouchers. It's asinine and backwards.
Yeah. Well,
I yield.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your activism. And I don't know if you missed my comment earlier, but I was very clear that this race to the bottom, unfortunately, where we have people making six figures, getting vouchers, is gutting public education in this state. And I will make a stand, but I will also say, not only is it up to me to use my political power, but we in this room got to use our political power and vote as well. This is a we. This is a we thing. This is a we thing. This is a we thing. So, all right. Thank you.
I'm Tarisha Sims. I'm currently a CMSD parent. I'm coming up to this microphone for, taking a totally different stance in a sense. Just to let you know a little bit about me, I'm a former private school parent, and when my son went to private school, I paid out of my pocket. I lived in East Cleveland, and I transported him every day on the bus. And his school didn't even take vouchers. I'm a former charter school parent. I'm a former virtual school parent. I'm a former Montessori school parent, and if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, forgive me, Emilia Reggio parent. So I'm saying all this, and I'm a former CMSD student, a former PTO president of Kenneth Clement, way back when you had that, and I'm a former student of Mary McLeod Bethune. So I'm coming to you to let you know that I have diverse backgrounds in education, and I'm coming from a different direction. You mentioned the Building Brighter Futures and high-quality educations. I want to let you know that it takes more than CTE programs. It takes more than everything you mentioned to build those types of schools. The one thing that I'm appalled about is the culture in these schools. How can you build brighter schools, high quality education, when a teacher told me in front of my daughter that her getting an F, a 62% was okay? Because there's other kids who got a lower F. How can you build high quality schools when you have teachers with that mindset for our students? Low expectations. So it's more that goes into that. The other thing is new and innovative models. When I go to these schools, they're taught the same way I was taught when I went to CMSD. How come we're not using adaptive AI, AI teachers, to work alongside our teachers, not replace them, and give our teachers a new role in the classroom as a facilitator? That way it frees up her time to do more of the CTE, more of the hands-on projects, and why are we not looking at flipped classroom models?
Yeah.
So if we're going to build future schools, we got to be future thinking. And we're not. Kids are disengaged because schools are boring. I'm just going to tell you, I would not be interested. So my question is, what are we doing alongside of those things? Because it's not going to replace teachers. Yes, it may upskill some, and that's an opportunity for that. But we need to look at the way that we're presenting curriculum to kids in a more innovative way, and adaptive AI can help these kids who are struggling. My daughter takes fashion design, and the teacher is struggling with getting the kids to understand how to add an additional inseam of a ½ inch. Why? Because they can't understand how to add that. So you're speaking about algebra in middle school. How can they do that when they don't even know basic math?
Ma'am, thank you so much for your question, and I want to apologize that you and your child had that experience with that teacher.
And that's not, I'm sorry, but that's not the first time.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And you don't, and you don't deserve that. I know that the board and Dr. Morgan, we want to make sure we have teachers who don't believe in the poverty of ambition for our young people, that hold them to the highest standard, that push them to achieve their God-given potential. And I believe that this plan will give us the resources to do just that, investing in AI education for young scholars, making sure they have financial literacy education before they graduate. Not only the trades, but having access to healthcare education as well too. Computer tech, like you just mentioned. That we want to make sure that's available across the entire footprint of the district. You want to talk about school culture,
Yeah.
Dr. Morgan, and what you're trying to do around school culture?
Yes, well, first I just want to acknowledge, thank you for your question and also your experience. When you said Reggio Emilia, I said you're a real one, to know that model. One thing I will say is, a school is more than the programs. So I know with this plan it brings a program, but it's going to be up to us to implement it. And one of the things you've seen is we've had a strong academic progress over time, but we don't have the programs in them. But what you mentioned more than anything is about a mindset and the culture we have to do. And it's not only with our teachers, I would say in this room, the mindset we had to have as a community. The fact that right now only 78% of our high schools have college credit, and we think no action is okay, that's our mindset. We need to change it. The fact that 59% of our high schools don't have career pathways, that's a mindset. And our kids deserve the best. They can do it. The other thing I would say is you mentioned about the Algebra 1. We have kids currently right now in some of our elementary schools that are scoring in the top tier. We just did our math presentation to our board when we had to present our board goals and guardrails. Daniel E. Morgan on the east side, there are 3 kids. Yeah, I see the principal in the back. 3 of her scholars performed in the highest tier, the highest scoring tier on math at Daniel E. Morgan, but we don't offer Algebra 1 there. And so imagine those kids that actually are scoring in the highest tier and they can't even be challenged. And so I love your question, I love your charge. There's work we have to do around culture, and there's mindset, not only within the system, but as a community, because our kids can do this. They can rise to the occasion, and they deserve the best. You know, one of the things we shared at the State of the Schools, out of one of the mouths of our own babies, she said, just because I live in poverty doesn't mean I deserve a low poverty education. And we deserve to give all of our kids the best. And so I thank you for your question. It's a mindset for all of us in our entire community.
One quick thing, I want to know how I can get involved in this, because when I go to my kids' school, they talk about parent engagement, but yet when I walk into the school building, I'm looked at as if I don't belong there.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, no,
I want to know how I can get involved. When I asked the principal how to get involved, I was told there's no more PTO. I was told they didn't have a parent ambassador, but they were going to be given one, but hadn't been given one yet. So I want to know, how can I get involved?
Yeah, we have a Chief Farmer Cole that's here.
Lisa's going to talk to you right now.
Yep.
Thank you, ma'am. Is this our last question?
I think so.
Yeah. I think you're our last question.
Good evening, everybody.
Oh,
Mayor.
you are? Oh, sorry. My apologies. Yep. Thank you.
Good to see everybody. Happy Veterans Day. To my former council, Michael Polinsky, I think he made a good, strong point. I came out of here nearly 30 years ago, and where you stand, Mayor, I received the Principal's Award nearly 30 years ago. My nephew goes to school here now as we speak, and what you're doing for him is in vain to my legacy here. And my question for you all, what are you going to do for him to keep this school open?
Well, as you know, the Building Brighter Futures plan contemplates merging Collinwood and Glenville. And in that new high school, we're going to have more programs, more investment to make sure that legacy is not in vain. And you have my commitment to work in concert with community to preserve that legacy of Collinwood, preserve those stories, make sure we don't lose touch of what this high school meant to this neighborhood. So working with my administration, Dr. Morgan and the board, you have our commitment to do whatever we can to preserve that legacy if the board approves this merger. Thank you, sir. This is our last question. Thank you.
Yes, hi. My name is Robin Robinson. I am the Executive Director of Sankofa Fine Art Plus. I have my institution is right across the street from Glenville High School. We've been established since 1999. My question is, there are 2 rival entities, Collinwood High School, Glenville High School. They're rivals academically, their rivals athletically, and they have rival gangs. So my question to you is, you're saying that, from what I understand, that there will be a police presence around so that everybody will feel safe and so forth. You have, and you keep saying if, but obviously this is something that's going to happen. Okay? If it doesn't happen today, it'll happen sometime soon. So my question is, because I'm an art therapist, I want to know what you're doing or plan to do from here till fall to get these kids ready to have this merger. Are you going to have some sort of programming, some sort of activities? Summer day camp isn't going to do it. So if you actually want to have a cohesive, non-violent merger, because if it doesn't happen in the fall, it'll happen in the winter, it'll happen when, you know, the daylight savings time and everybody's leaving school in the nighttime, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, what are your active plans for these children from 9th grade to 12th grade when you're saying, okay, your home is closed, you're going to step to this step home, someplace that you know you're not going to be there, it's going to be, you know, a very hostile situation. I'm right across the street. I don't want to be present in that type of situation, in that environment. So what are your plans?
I want to have Dr. Morgan and then Director Woodson also talk about what we're doing already, what we plan to do with those students from both Collinwood and Glenville. Dr. Morgan?
No, I appreciate the question. I know this is one of the biggest things I hear. So a few things I want to share. One, I have experience having done this when I was a high school principal in Chicago, and I remember there was a gang in my school, like, you know, real, you know, full-fledged gangs in my school. And when one of the schools closed and it merged, I was wondering why that next year my building was on fire. And needing to, you know, multiple fights that were taking place. And that was on the west side of Chicago, and we're talking about the Vice Lords, and when, you know, you had gangs like GD Folks and Breed. So I want to let you know I have this experience in being on the ground myself, leading a school doing that. But what I learned from that process is you need community partnership, and we had that already within. I remember talking to Mayor Emanuel. I said, you know, on the street corner of my, right at California, they're selling drugs, there's gang activity, it's taking place coming into my school. And I learned then that there needs to be a commitment from the city team, from the mayor, and others that really are working with the school community to support that. We have that commitment already in Mayor Bibb. We already have a coalition that meets on a regular basis to talk about that. We have a gang task force and also different things we look at with the Cleveland Police Department. We work with RTA to think about routes and how we can actually support students with safe passage. We have a student advisory council that's led even by our humanware department that's already thinking about how the cultures can, you know, merge together. So there's a lot of work that we have to do. I'm not saying everything will be perfect, but there's my own experience that I have leading this work. There's work that we're already doing. And serious incidents are already significantly down. It's going to be really important to ensure that those serious incidents stay down. And then also really thinking about how do we ensure that we can engage scholars in the active discourse of the schooling process, where they're actually engaged in academics and extracurriculars and sports, so that they actually are busy with their time and actually have things to do that is not taking them away from this. So I just want to let you know that you have my commitment with it. I have experience with this. I've lived through this. And so we will ensure that this is work that we're doing as well moving forward.
Okay,
Director Woodson.
Just one second. Just as a community stakeholder, Glenville is a very cohesive community. So as a community stakeholder, will we be involved in that conversation?
Yes. Yes.
That's all I want to know.
Yes. Director Woodson. Director Woodson.
Sure. Just to piggyback, through the Community Relations Department, we do have a street outreach team that is present in the schools, presently in Collinwood, Glenville. Something that we did the last 2 years with the help of the support of our city council people is we took the high risk, the ones that don't come to school all the time, the ones that have notice for tardiness, or are coming back into the school from either our Cuyahoga County Detention Facility or our Ohio DYS. So we've got them interested throughout the school year about just different curriculums, like why are you not paying attention in school, trying to get them back on track. Once they got on track, we promised them a trip. We've been taking them on a college trip. Now, we were told that's crazy. Why would you take Ginn, Glenville, and Collinwood, who are very competitive against each other, put them all on the same bus, and think they're going to act right and go on a college trip? We've done it 2 years. They become friends. The friendships have been amazing. We did not know Bright Futures was even going to happen when we first implemented this, and it's growing, and we hope to take an even bigger trip coming in the spring of 2026.
Great. Well, Dr. Morgan?
Yeah, one other thing I was going to share to that point that she shared there, it goes back to the mindset question that our parents shared here. If we don't raise our expectations of what we actually think our kids can do, they can do this. They can live in productive peace and culture and harmony together. Let's raise the bar. Our kids can do it. They've shown us, and that's a great example. So I'm excited to figure out how we're going to plan this together, working with community. But our kids can do it. They'll raise the bar.
Great. Well, yes, absolutely. Let's give yourselves a round of applause for coming today. We appreciate it. I forgot to do this at the start of the meeting. Any veterans in the room? If you're a veteran, please stand. Let's give our vets a big round of applause. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. We have another town hall on Thursday at Tremont Montessori. So if you want to come up and give feedback there, we'll see you on Thursday. God bless you all. Thanks so much for coming. We truly appreciate you. Thanks.